Today's episode of Valley View with Austin Reed is made possible with support from the United Conservatory of Music in Fresno and by Laura Young with Guarantee Real Estate, also in Fresno.
Now from Channel 49, this is Valley View, covering the issues that matter most to you in Central California. Here's your host, Austin Reed.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of Valley View on KNXT, Channel 49. I'm Austin Reed. Happy you're here. Hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Austin Reed on Air. You know, we celebrate what's great about the Central Valley on Valley View every single week. And joining us over the next 30 minutes today, we've got the military in the house. Give it up for almost Staff Sergeant Jamie Campos. Did I say your last name right?
Yes.
Okay, very good. And Staff Sergeant Kevin Cardoso.
Cardoso, yeah.
Cardoso, welcome.
Thank you.
Now,
Thank you.
tell
Appreciate
everybody where you're based.
Well, we're based out of Visalia. We're on Mooney Boulevard, right next door to Tilly's by the big Target on South Mooney Boulevard. So,
You've been on duty here in Fresno. You've been in the military 10 years, but you've been stationed here in Fresno as, what is your exact title?
so we're recruiters at the moment.
Recruiters. Okay.
We hold other positions, but for the assignment that we're on, we're holding the recruiter position.
So you've been in the military now for 10 years.
Yes.
Kevin, what about you?
Yeah, so I'm a Tulare native. I was actually born and raised here in Tulare area. I've been in the military for about 9 years. So right after high school, my senior year from Western, I enlisted, went straight into the Army, and then I went from upstate New York at Fort Drum to Colorado Springs, Colorado, back to California, and now I'm a recruiter here in Visalia. And so I really enjoy it, and my actual job in the Army is actually fixing all the weapons in the Army. So it's pretty cool, from everything from pistols to big machine guns. I fix all of it, but I love being a recruiter back home.
So now for you, stationed here in Visalia, in the Central Valley, what has it been like? Because you're not originally from here.
No, I'm from Orange County, so it's a
Okay.
whole different vibe.
Totally different world. What do you, how have you liked it?
So when I got stationed in Colorado as my first duty station, I was like, I'm never going back to California, like ever.
Yeah.
And then I went to recruiting school because we go to school first so that we learn like the do's and the don'ts of recruiting. And, I had different options to choose from. So they're going to give you like a wish list. Well, of course, I had to like talk with my wife about it. I'm like, okay, these are the places we can go to. And she's like, well, I don't want a state that snows. I don't want a state that I don't know. I don't want this. I don't want that. So LA was my number one, SoCal was my number two, and then Central California was my number three. Well, of course, I got number three. So
Third time's the charm.
And that's what brought me back to California.
Yeah.
But other than that, I would have, if I didn't have recruiting orders, I would have gone somewhere else.
Is your wife in the military too?
No, she's a civilian.
Oh, okay, all right. So you could be leaving in about a year, right?
Yes.
Okay, but time will tell.
Yes, time will tell.
For you, Kevin, being from Tulare, born and raised, being all over the place the last 8 years, I guess.
Yep.
How is it coming back home?
So honestly, Austin, it's been really great. I mean, initially why I went into the Army was, I was a typical high school kid, and I wanted to leave Tulare to go explore. A lot of people here in the Valley, we don't really appreciate the things we have until we leave from it, And then, so initially I left and I loved it, but being back home is like amazing because now I'm sharing the experiences that I've had throughout in upstate New York and Afghanistan, wherever I've been, to the people back home, so they understand that we're not just robots. We're people. We have thoughts,
Lives.
Feelings, wives, families, kids. And my wife is super supportive. Without her,
Is she civilian too?
she is. Yeah. So initially, I came back to California. That's what's nice about the Army is we're allowed to kind of choose where we want to go.
Right.
So I chose to come back to California, and it's been great. Me spending time with her more and with the kids, and it's one of those things that's just been awesome.
How many kids do you have?
I have 3.
You have 3.
Three
okay.
kids. Yep.
Very
3 kids. Mm-hmm.
Do you have kids?
I have 5 dogs.
Oh yeah. Oh, well, that is more than having kids.
No.
Like
Yeah.
human kids. I love it.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's talk a little bit about the Visalia branch. Who wants to take that question?
Either or.
I'll pick you.
Sure.
What is it like? What is it like there?
Well, I mean, when I first got there, I was like, man, I'm right next to Buffalo Wild Wings, Panera Bread, Target.
Right.
Like, those are my spots.
Yeah.
But I think where they had the office before, which was next to a Chuck E. Cheese, I don't think benefited the population we're looking for. So I think being in the location that we're at is actually better because, I mean, we get, younger adults go to Tilly's, Target, but we're also like 5 minutes away from the mall. So putting us in that area, I think it actually puts our face out there, which obviously is what we're, looking for individuals who are interested, whether it be active duty or Army Reserves.
Yeah.
And so many people, I think, kind of forget that, I'm sure some people are scared, like thinking maybe I want to go into the military, but I don't want to go into combat.
Yeah.
That's okay. And people, I think, forget that.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Austin, initially, and that is a very big misconception, especially with the Army, is it's not all combat. I would say about 10 to 15% of what we do. Yeah, I mean, yes, we are about combat, but we have support jobs in support of the combat. Like, I'm a gunsmith. I've been in for 9 years. Yes, I've been in Afghanistan, but I've never been direct fire with combat. It's just a lot of misconceptions, and once you really tell those people those things and reel them back in, they're like, oh,
wow.
There's been people who've been in 20 years and have never seen combat. And they've lived a good career and had it's just amazing. It's amazing, Austin.
So we have career fields in medical. We have paralegal. We have lawyers. We have engineering, which really helps out. So for those individuals that want construction, welding, stuff like that, certifications that they would have to get in college, they're going to receive those certifications while getting paid to learn that career path. And I think that kind of saves them money in the long run. But a lot of people think, oh, I'm going to go to college, I'm going to get the job of whatever they go to college for, and then they graduate and they go look and they're like, well, do you have 5 years of experience?
Right. Yeah. Or we're going to pay you $15 an hour.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're getting paid same person as somebody working at McDonald's or something.
And Sergeant Campos is absolutely correct, because the thing is especially with us, when you have someone who comes out of high school and they don't really have a path like I was, I'm sharing my personal experience. I went in and I realized now, especially 10 years later, you get to do both. I have my bachelor's I'm almost done with. I have experience. I'm a veteran, right? And then what's amazing, especially with the educational piece of it, is you can use financial aid. Yeah. A lot of people don't know that. If I don't tell you that you can use financial aid and tuition assistance, which is the Army version of financial aid, you wouldn't know that you could get paid the Pell Grant money while the Army covers so you get paid to go to school for your bachelor's degree. And that's a lot of misconceptions. And when you put it into that perspective, people are like, wow, you're telling me I get to get paid to go to school. It's one of those things that a lot of people don't even know about, Austin,
And that's why we're doing the interview today.
Yeah.
To get the word out about this.
Yeah.
Let's talk, before we go to our first break, can you, Sergeant Campos, can you give us more details about those perks?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
So for education benefits, we have $4,000 tuition assistance. Okay. Plus, an individual can still apply for FAFSA on top of that.
And what's that, FAFSA?
I can't remember the acronym.
It's the federal student aid of the United States.
Oh, okay.
Tuition assistance is like the FAFSA, but it's the Army's version of FAFSA.
Perfect.
So they can double dip, I guess, if you want to say. And then plus they have like the GI Bill. So you have your Montgomery GI Bill and your post 9/11 GI Bill. Both of them are full scholarships. However, both of them pay differently. So if a person were to, I would say, do their associates, I usually tell like my soldiers, go with the tuition assistance first.
Okay.
Because the tuition assistance is going to pay for your associates, your bachelor's, and your master's. Anything beyond a master's, then use your GI Bill. Or if you want to go to flight school, use your GI Bill. So you want to use the GI Bill for appropriate things, because once you use it, like, you pretty much don't have it anymore. So you want to use it appropriately.
And she's absolutely correct, especially with the GI Bill and the Montgomery, both of them. Even for those people who want to become police officers, firefighters, whatever, they still need general ed requirements done. And if they do it while they serve, they can still use their post 9/11 for the post or whatever they need. You know, there will be some out of cost, costs like a gun or whatever, but the post 9/11 covers that.
See, that's incredible.
Yeah.
And
and
then
it's financial aid. Remember, I couldn't even think.
Oh
of
yeah,
it.
yeah.
Financially.
And then also let's talk about what housing.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
That's huge.
When an individual completes all training and they're single, they will live in the barracks, right? So they don't have to pay rent, they don't have to pay utilities. So during the summertime, they're not looking at a $300 electricity bill, like some people do living on their own. And then once you become of a certain rank or married, obviously you're not going to be living in the barracks anymore, because you can't bring your spouse into the barracks. And then if you're of a appropriate rank to move out, it's kind of like, okay, well, you are now this rank. You cannot mesh anymore with the junior enlisted.
Exactly.
So they'll give you basic housing allowance so you can move out.
It's perfect.
Now, either a person can live on base, and if they do live on base, they're not going to see that basic allowance for housing, because the military is providing you that home and they're paying you your utilities. The reason for the BAH is so that you can pay for your rent and your utilities if you live off base.
And then just all of the benefits as far as camaraderie, friendship.
Yeah, no, I'll share a little bit of experience about that. Like that, people ask me all the time, like, why do you serve and blah, 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 and that's ultimately what it's about. Like, everybody in the office I work with, we get along great, and I would trust them with my life. Like, you can't get a camaraderie like that anywhere else. When I was in Afghanistan, people were like, oh, it's dangerous. Yeah, it is dangerous. But you know what? It's the people that make it fun. The people you work with every day. And, you hear a lot of people, they'll get out, they'll be like, oh, I kind of wish I stayed my 20 years.
Yeah.
It's because of that. At the end of the day, that's what they want.
Yeah.
I
mean, and guaranteed, it's just like any other job. So you'll work with somebody you may not work well with. But at the end of the day, it's just business. So once you're done with work, that's it. You don't have to deal with that person.
But all in all, it's definitely a mentality of brothers and sisters for life.
Right.
Period. Even if you don't get along with that person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just because it's such a position that is so dang important. And so, my father is a veteran. I'm not, unfortunately. But what's interesting is I did have some thoughts about it when I was younger, but I've got cystic fibrosis.
Yeah.
And I immediately thought, well, they're not going to let me in anyways. But again, another misconception.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of exceptions that we could do that a lot of people won't know unless they actually sit down and talk to a recruiter. But that is a big misconception, is people think when they go talk to a recruiter, an Army recruiter, right, that they're enlisting right there and then.
Yeah.
It's not, and I understand, because it's a big life decision. You're telling somebody to go from their comfort zone to doing something completely different that they're not used to, and they don't know.
It's scary. It's stressful.
Scary. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to take our first break. You're watching Valley View. Our guest today, Sergeant Jamie Campos.
Yes.
Campos, like camp. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think earlier I said it wrong, but along with Staff Sergeant Kevin Cardoso, we are going to talk more about the recruitment process. That's next.
Continue blowing, a few seconds more, hang in there, hang in there.
My name is Tara Burke, and I'm from Sarnia, Ontario, and I'm 22 years old. Cystic fibrosis is a genetic disorder, so I was born with it. In your day-to-day life, cystic fibrosis would kind of make things more difficult to do your regular activities because your lungs don't function properly. So it's like you've run a 400-meter sprint, and you're at the end and you're kind of trying to catch your breath, and you cannot quite take in enough air at one moment to catch your breath. That's what it felt like to brush my teeth. And your digestive system doesn't work properly, so you have to take pills to help digest your food so that you're getting all the nutrients and the fats out of it. I had a double lung transplant February 1st, 2012. When I was in grade 12, my lung function started to drop, and I ended up spending the next year and a half in and out of hospital. My weight was dropping, and eventually the doctors determined that I was in end-stage function for CF in my lungs, and the only treatment for that is a double lung transplant.
Listen. All it took was someone who would insist that I just try.
Suddenly everything was turned around because they judge you.
You tell them, I don't need this.
No one is going to understand.
Unless they've been through it, how can they?
Then one day you realize.
You feel so hopeless.
I need help. I need help.
You feel so hopeless.
Then one day you realize.
Unless they've been through it, how can they understand?
I don't need this.
No one's going to judge you.
Suddenly everything was turned around because they insist that I just try.
All it took was someone who would just...
Listen.
Today's episode of Valley View with Austin Reed is made possible with support from the United Conservatory of Music in Fresno and by Laura Young with Guarantee Real Estate, also in Fresno.
Valley View here on KNXT TV, Channel 49. I'm your host, Austin Reed. Happy that you're here today. Hey, we are continuing our conversation with Sergeant Jamie Campos, along with Staff Sergeant Kevin Cardoso. Welcome back, guys. Thank you.
He's like, I said it right.
You said it right, yeah. I'm so bad with names. Okay, so we are talking all about the military and really focusing on recruitment today.
Yes.
Now, you guys are based in Visalia.
Right.
Where exactly are you located?
4037 South Mooney Boulevard. So
Okay.
that's literally right next to Tilly's, Best Buy, and Target.
Yep.
Right by Target.
Just have to hit the Army button.
Yeah, exactly.
And come right on in.
Come on in.
Yeah.
We've been discussing misconceptions about joining the military. There was one point you wanted to make.
So a lot of individuals think like they can't join at a certain age. There is an age limit, obviously, 17 to 34. But a lot of people think like, oh, I'm in my 20s, I can't do it. Yes, you can. I enlisted when I was 25 years old. I left for basic when I was 26. I'm 36 right now, and I will be 46 when I retire. So the best thing about that is I'll do 20 years, get a paycheck from the Army, right? But I'll still be young enough to go and do whatever I want, whether that's travel or work for something else.
And I have some friends who they served in the military for like 25 years, and then they my friend John Curry with Semper Savage, a veteran-owned company. Check him out, everybody. He's still serving, but in a different. He's not in active military duty, you know. So, and he did that because he went back into it because he loves it, you know. Now, let's talk a little bit about the recruitment process. So, somebody that's watching today, and they're thinking, okay, I should at least get more information. How does it work?
So what I would recommend, Austin, is they download the Careers app. It's an Army's Careers app. It has 150 plus all the 150 plus careers we have. And then what they do is reach out to myself or Sergeant Campos, right? And then we'll walk them through the steps. But basically, we take it step by step. We don't like to push anybody, but we take it step by step because it is a process. And then what happens is we sit down, we have an initial appointment. We talk about everything we offer, from the active Army, full-time, to the Army Reserves that Sergeant Campos was discussing, right? And then what happens after that, we have them take a practice test to see what they would get on the ASVAB. So the ASVAB is an aptitude test. It doesn't mean you're going to enlist into the military, but what this aptitude test does is see what you're good at. See if you're good at electrical. See if you're good at combat stuff. See if you're good at field artillery, cooking, all that stuff, maintenance, right? And then after that happens, right, we sit down, then we talk about your goals. Okay, what did you want? You know, we re-talk about your goals. And then once we do that, if you're committed by then, right, we have you bring some documents. We have you fill out some paperwork, right? And then we do our portion in the system as recruiters. And you come back in, and we turn the screen to you based on what the jobs are available at the time, right? Because it's all from East Coast to West Coast. And we turn the screen to you and say, pick your career that's available at the time.
We also have recruiting stations out in Germany, Hawaii. So it's not just the United States because we do have military families abroad. So, you know, if their kids want to enlist, there has to be somewhere for them to enlist. So the process and steps is you talk to a recruiter, right? You get your questions answered. You want a recruiter that's going to talk with you, have a conversation with you, not a recruiter that's going to talk at you. If that person is talking at you, I would say get a different recruiter. But when you're talking to all the branches, think of it like this. It's kind of like going to a new restaurant. You're not going to just get something off the menu without finding what the menus or what that meal is going to contain. First of all, you want to find anything if you're allergic to something, you want to see if it's in that meal, right? So talking to each branch, I always encourage individuals to, because each branch is going to cater to you differently.
Right.
We all have the same benefits, especially education benefits. Let's say, for example, Air Force, I think, is like $3,500 for tuition assistance, whereas we're $4,000. So we may have the same benefits, but it's all going to be utilized differently.
So each branch is different.
Yes.
Right. And how they use those benefits, like us, when it comes to the tuition assistance part of it, we can use it right away.
Yeah. We don't have to wait a year or 2 years. We get to use it right when we're done with basic training and job training, and either you come back to Fresno to your reserve unit or you're going to your duty station. You can utilize the tuition assistance as soon as possible.
We're going to take one more quick break. After the break, I want to hear from both of you some of the biggest life lessons that y'all have gotten since serving, okay? You're watching Valley View. I'm Austin Reed. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Dr. Edith Bracho Sanchez with today's tip for kids from the American Academy of Pediatrics. The stress created by the COVID-19 pandemic can wear anyone down, but teens may have a especially hard time. Feeling depressed or angry may be signs they need more support. Remember, parents set the tone at home. So try to stay positive, keep the lines of communication open, and talk with your pediatrician if you have any concerns. For more, visit healthychildren.org.
CentralValleyTalk.com.
I'm Austin Reed, coming to you from our Tower District studios inside the Mike Briggs building. Welcome.
Century Salon in Old Town Clovis.
Okay, and you guys are in that new two-story
Yes,
building,
right on Clovis Avenue.
Originally, Oh My Crepes, this is something that we've been wanting to do for a while now.
We are talking about the Fresno Freeze now, women's soccer, and joining us in our Tower District studios is Kevin.
Stephanie D'Angelo, and she's here for Mardi Gras.
I
Stephanie.
am. Thank you for having me.
Ken joining us live via Zoom, an author. Ken, welcome back to Central Valley Talk.
Yeah, 321book.shop.
Well, a good update is that the market is still hot, just like the weather here in the Central Valley.
This is Newsmakers, and I'm Mike Briggs. We've been coming to you every year for about 13 years, talking about the news and talking to people in the news and people who make the news. We have a special guest, Fresno County Supervisor Buddy Mendez. Welcome, Supervisor.
Well, thank you, Mike.
My next guest is Darren Redmond, the Executive Director of Pain, Parents, and Addicts in Need, one of my new best friends here in the Central Valley.
Yes.
With Austin Reed, this is Valley View.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We are continuing our conversation now. Just a couple minutes left with Sergeant Campos, along with Staff Sergeant Cardoso. No, you'll be Staff Sergeant very soon.
Yes, on the 1st.
On the 1st.
I just found out 1st. I made Staff Sergeant today. So.
Oh, it was today you found out?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Somebody called me and said, congratulations, Staff Sergeant Campos. And I was like, what? Shut up.
See? And then today you had this interview, so you had to announce it. That's pretty
Today's
awesome.
been a really good day.
A good day, yeah. Okay, biggest life lessons. No, by the way, Jamie and Kevin have been in the military for about 10 years. Well, you'll be hitting 10 years.
I just hit 10 years September.
10. You're at 9.
Next year, 10.
Okay. Biggest life lessons. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
So, one of my biggest life lessons I've ever had, Austin, is definitely when I went to Afghanistan, right? You never really appreciate the small things in life until you've been to a country like Afghanistan.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, an example is a toilet. You know, running water.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes in the way that people live over there just really makes you appreciative of your family and everything that you have here at home in America. So that's honestly one of the biggest life lessons I've ever had, was just being really appreciative and grateful and humble of the things I have in life.
Yeah.
You know?
How about you?
So for me, it was like, yes, the military, like if you're doing active duty, it's going to take you away from your family. You're going to miss events and stuff like that. But the amount of like, we understand, we get it. Like, because it's hard sometimes when you're like, dang, I missed this, or dang, I missed that. But you're like their hero to them, and they respect and they're so proud of you that it's okay. They know, we know you're doing something honorable. So that was a big life lesson to me, because I was like, I didn't realize like how much I would miss.
Yep.
But like you said, it's all worth it.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And now I'm 4 hours away from my hometown, so you know.
It's not too far.
Exactly.
Okay, so somebody watching today, they're thinking, hey, you know what? I want to give this a chance. Best way to get in touch, both of you, right? Okay.
Yeah, with me it'd be Instagram. Just follow me on Instagram. It's honestly a lot easier on Instagram. I respond so much faster than my cell phone. Sometimes I get super busy, but my Instagram, it's a lot easier.
Okay.
I have my phone in my hand,
so you're always
social media, or you can call me or text me, and I will respond back.
Yeah.
And if I don't respond back quickly, it's because I have somebody at the office
right.
I'm currently working with.
They could also just come in, right?
Or that,
Can they come in too?
And ask for us. Ask
Okay.
for us specifically, and then there we go.
Address one more time.
4037 South Mooney Boulevard in Visalia.
Yep.
Very good. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for your service.
Appreciate it.
And
Thank you.
this was a great conversation.
Yes, I was glad to be back.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, because you came on Central Valley Talk.
Yes.
So, and it was good meeting you, Kevin.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah.
Check it out, everybody. Visalia, U.S. military branch, U.S. Army. Got nothing to lose.
Yep.
No.
You know, if you're thinking about it. So. All right, that's going to do it for Valley View. I'm Austin Reed. Hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Austin Reed On Air. From all of us here at Channel 49, have a great rest of your day.